There was an article that came out on Comic Book Movie about the DCEU. And this will be the last thing we talk about before we move into the questions. But I thought this was an interesting article because it started to make me think, okay, well then where are we going to go? Stop that. Where are we going to go if we like these ideas? Are they going to actually potentially bring these along? And the awesome DCEU movies that were in the works before the DCEU reboot, and Comic Book Movies Josh Wilding writes, when DC Studios was formed, several DCEU movies were scrapped by co-CEOs James Gunn, Peter Safran, from Wonder Woman 3 to Batman Beyond and Crisis on Infinite Earth. These could have been awesome. The DC Extended Universe wasn't exactly a success, though it would be wrong to say that it didn't deliver some good stories and box office hits. Still, something needed to change, and that's why DC Studios was formed at the end of 2023. Over the past 2 years, we've seen the DCU slowly start to take shape. Superman will kick things off properly this summer. Creature Commandos gave us a taste of what's to come and beyond, and the slate is mostly shaping up to be in equal parts intriguing and exciting. However, when DC Studios decided to take these characters back to the drawing board, there were some casualties. James Gunn has enlisted many of his friends to reprise their respective DC roles, but with a fresh start on the horizon, many ideas and movies were scrapped. So let's take a look. This one, clearly, probably not going to happen. That's Batman Beyond. Michael Keaton was going to return he returned in The Flash, but there were plans for his Dark Knight. Beyond that, he was set to have a part in Batgirl and even shot a cameo for Aquaman in The Lost Kingdom, with him established as the DCEU's new permanent Cape Crusader. All this was going to culminate with a Batman Beyond movie. Harley Quinn, Birds of Prey writer Christina Hodson was penning the screenplay, and with Pattinson playing Bruce Wayne and Matt Reeves, the Batman franchise, the idea was to have the DCEU's Batman pass the mantle to Terry McGinnis. As if a Batman Beyond movie wasn't a perfect way to end Keaton's tenure as this iconic character, one idea considered for the project was his Bruce Wayne to rekindle his romance with Michelle Pfeiffer's Selena Kyle. That would have been pretty awesome, at least to see it. But I understand why you can't do that again. Wonder Woman 3, we knew one of the most high-profile casualties of DC Studios' formation was Wonder Woman 3. Gal Gadot insisted she'll reprise the role of Diana Prince, but reliable insiders claim otherwise, and Gunn, who is quick to debunk even the most minor rumors, remains silent about the situation. It's obvious now that Gadot's time as Wonder Woman is over, and that Wonder Woman 3 in any form will no longer happen. Man of Steel 2, we knew that was potentially going to happen. There's an idea of confusion surrounding when all this plans changed. However, we know Black Adam star Dwayne Johnson was responsible for going around Walter Hamada to bring Henry Cavill back as Superman. That happened before Black Adam's release, with the actors back in the fold. Warner Brothers started mulling over Man of Steel 2 ideas, and he was doing interviews about him and all that. Superman versus Black Adam is another one. Dwayne Johnson quite fancy building the DCEU around himself and Black Adam, knowing that he's throwing Cavill's Man of Tomorrow into the mix would help with that. Had he gotten his way, Black Adam was going to be followed by Man of Steel 2 and Black Adam 2, and then the eventual face-off, which would have included Shazam in any way, shape, or form, which wouldn't have, given Johnson's apparently disdain for the character. Batgirl, which we also know. Batgirl had almost finished the shooting. They had helmed Bad Boys for Life in episodes of Ms. Marvel for Studios beforehand, and it got caught up in a change of regime, and they cut it for tax purposes. This one, J.J. Abrams' Justice League Dark project had been in the works at Warner Brothers for years. However, Star Wars: The Rise of Skywalker, J.J. Abrams ultimately tasked with taking charge of a slate of projects revolving around the supernatural superhero team. We'll see if that would happen. Crisis on Infinite Earths. While Johnson has led us to believe that he was solely responsible for Cavill's Superman return in Black Adam, that isn't strictly true. Yes, he made it sound like there was no other choice than to go around the studio brass to make it happen, but Walter Hamada had his own important plans for Man of Steel, while The Flash would end with Superman being written out of reality and replaced by Supergirl. The endgame was for Cavill to make his grand return in Crisis on Infinite Earths, would have been a welcome back or permanent farewell. Cavill even shot a cameo in The Flash that inserted him back into the DCEU. And then Justice League 2, of course, is the last one. So a lot of these, when you hear that, these that they put, the only one, and you guys can tell me if I'm wrong or right in this, that I think could, well, two of them, actually, two that I think that potentially could still happen, depending on how they built it up. And same conversation we had before, varying on successes of how the future properties do. Crisis on Infinite Earth, I assume, is something that could happen. I don't know the story well enough. You guys can tell me. Maybe they just don't. It's multiverses and stuff, so maybe not. And the other one is the Justice League Dark. Is that right? So that one is potential, and then maybe even Justice League once you've in like 5 to 10 years from now, once you build up all the characters. So those I think are all possible. The other ones with Gal Gadot obviously is not going to happen. Henry Cavill's Man of Steel not going to happen. The Michael Keaton stuff not going to happen. But Winston, you hear these. Are you on the same page with me, or is there's no way that you can do a Crisis on Infinite Earth one? Let me tell you guys about fast growing trees. I've discussed them before. I want to tell you about them again. They are the biggest online nursery in the US with thousands of different plants and over 2 million happy customers. They have all the plants that your yard needs, like fruit trees, privacy trees, flowering trees, shrubs, and a lot more. Whatever plants you're interested in, fast growing trees, it's got you covered. You can find the perfect fit for your climate and space. Fast Growing Trees makes it easy to get your dream yard. You can order online and get your plants delivered directly to your door in just a few days without ever leaving home. Their Alive and Thrive guarantee ensures your plants arrive happy and healthy. Plus, get support from trained plant experts on call to help you plan your landscape, you choose the right plants, and learn how to care for them. That's exactly what I did. Everything I just said right there. That's what I did when I got my Honeycrisp apple tree. My wife was so excited to get it. We got it. It was beautiful when it got there, and then put it outside. We called somebody up to ask the kind of soil we needed. They said the kind of care we needed to give it, and it is thriving in the backyard. We're literally treating it like one of our kids. My little one gave it a hug. So it's really great. We love it. We love fast-growing trees, and we hope you love it too. This spring, they have the best deal for your yard, up to half off on select plants and other deals. And listeners to our show get 15% off their first purchase when using the code BIGTHING at checkout. That's an additional 15% off at fastgrowingtrees.com using the code BIGTHING at checkout. Fastgrowingtrees.com, code BIGTHING. Perfect time to plant. Use that BIGTHING code to save today. The offer is valid for a limited time. Terms and conditions may apply.
No, you can do Crisis. I mean, Crisis is essentially to oversimplify is DCU's Secret Wars. It's the idea that you're having also kind of incursions happening. There's a cosmic evil force behind it that's trying to collapse all universes. It was another way for, and Coy obviously can correct me, to kind of reset DC continuity, give you a big kind of send off moment, et cetera, et cetera. So you very much could. I mean, I don't know if there's. I understand TV and movies are different. I don't know if there's quite a rush, because
is it similar what they're doing with Doom though?
I mean, more or less, yes. With Secret Wars, it's taking all of the different iterations, mashing them together, and then having one final farewell to everything. So, like, I say all that to say, because you just did Crisis 2 times, both as an animated series of movies, but then you did it via like the Arrowverse, where you brought in, people both involved in the shows and like Smallville and in some of the movies. Like, you already had Brandon Roth in the Arrowverse, but he reprised his role as Superman from Superman Returns and all that kind of stuff. You kind of had that happen, and I see that being lower on the priority scale when you're just trying to build stuff out anyway. I think Justice League Dark is a good chance because it's something that we really haven't got a chance to see. We haven't seen Constantine since Reeves did it. Right. So we want to see what you're doing here, plus a lot of other fun characters like Zatanna involved and stuff like that. I don't know if you get Michael Keaton for Batman Beyond, but people have been clamoring for Batman Beyond for a while. So I am not saying I could see them also figuring something like that out, but maybe you just don't involve Keaton. Maybe I don't know. That is the rare way you get Affleck to come back, or you get Bale or something like that.
Affleck's done. He's not coming back. But Coy, and I guess another one is potentially, obviously, with the build up, their Avengers is Justice League. So eventually, I assume once you set up Batman and once you set up everybody, like I said, you're 5 to 10 years away from it if you do it right. But what do you think about this list? And do you think, is there anything that they could revisit? No, you're muted, buddy. You're muted, Coy.
I think Wonder Woman 3 is obviously an out, but I think the rest are all various levels of possibility for their storytelling. Like, these are all based on comic books that are being adapted. I would say sensibility wise, Justice League Dark is very much HBO Max, Creature Commando, Supernatural, Swamp Thing, stuff that we see DC doing differently than Marvel. Is like, we started with a TV MA show, we've got an R-rated movie, we've got all these things on the docket that have been announced. 2 R-rated movies. So I think Justice League Dark is more likely under the new era because they tried to get that made for like a decade at the DCEU, and I think that's a possibility. I want it real bad. I also think that Batman Beyond is one of those things that is a good fan fervor that is also not quite deep cut anymore. It's pretty surface, but like James Gunn loves to have the characters that are just left of center get their time to shine. So Batman Beyond feels like, an option. So to me, there's a few of these that could happen. And I think Crisis would be like, 20 years down the line when the next iteration of reboots is happening and you want to bring in everything into one last ride.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So there you go. This is a cool list. I think comicbookmovie.com. You can check that list out and tell us what you guys think and what movies could happen, not happen. Put your thoughts in there. Let us know.